Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape lately, you know that the division is heating up, the NFC East is more competitive than ever, and every move, every roster change seems to carry more weight. And today, we have some interesting news that directly involves the Washington Commanders, a team that's been quietly building momentum and looking to make some serious noise this season. But before diving into the specifics of today's updates, let's set the scene a little because the Commanders are not just sitting still. They've been active in the offseason, making strategic moves, trying to strengthen their roster, and positioning themselves as a team that could challenge the division's giants. Now, what's the latest? Well, the NFL's always in motion, and today we got some notable roster moves that might seem minor on paper but could have significant implications. First, let's talk about a player who was making waves on the practice squad but has now been released, Ralph Holley. Yes, you heard that right. Ralph Holley, a defensive lineman who previously played for the Cleveland Browns, was released from the Browns' practice squad. Holley, a former Toronto Argonauts player, was trying to carve out a spot in the NFL after a stint in the CFL, but unfortunately, it didn't work out this time. The Browns decided to release him, which means he's currently a free agent and looking for a new team that might give him a shot to prove himself. Holley's story is quite interesting. Coming from the CFL, where he played with the Toronto Argonauts, he showcased some promising skills as a defensive lineman, but transitioning to the NFL is no easy feat. The league is incredibly competitive, and every team is constantly evaluating talent, especially when it comes to depth on the defensive line. Holley's physical attributes and college tape made him an intriguing player, but it seems like the Browns are still reassessing their options in that position. For Washington fans, it's worth noting that Holley is a player who could be on the radar if he finds the right fit, especially considering the team's ongoing search for defensive line depth. But that's not all. The news gets even more interesting when we look at Julian Good-Jones, a player with a unique background. The Commanders recently made a move involving Good-Jones, releasing him with an injury settlement. Now, Good-Jones, who's 28 years old, was signed by Washington after being waived by the Philadelphia Eagles practice squad. He had been with the Eagles earlier in 2023, signing with them in January, and spent the first half of the season on their practice roster. His journey is quite fascinating. He originally signed as an undrafted free agent out of Iowa State back in 2020, and he's had a couple of stints in the CFL with the Calgary Stampeders, where he mainly played as a right tackle. In fact, during his time with Calgary, he started 22 games over the 2021 and 2022 seasons. His last season with the Stampeders was notable. Even though Calgary allowed 17 sacks, they led the league in rushing yards, which shows that Good-Jones was a significant part of their offensive line. His experience in both the CFL and NFL gives him a versatile background, and he's known for his physicality and ability to protect the quarterback. But as with many players, injuries happen, and the injury settlement with Washington means that he's now a free agent. The good news for him is that once he's healthy, he can sign with any team that's interested without having to sit out the entire season. It's a smart move for both sides. Washington can free up roster space, and Good-Jones gets a chance to recover and find a new opportunity. Now, from the perspective of the team and the fans, this move highlights the ongoing process of roster evaluation and depth building. The Commanders have been working hard to find the right pieces for their offensive line, especially given the importance of protecting their young quarterback and establishing a solid run game. Good-Jones, with his experience and versatility, was seen as a potential depth option. His release, although disappointing for him personally, is part of the broader NFL strategy. Teams are constantly tweaking their rosters, looking for players who can step in when needed, and sometimes that means parting ways temporarily to make room for potential upgrades later. The NFL season is a long grind, and injuries are part of the game. Having players like Good Jones, who are experienced and versatile, can be a huge advantage. The Commanders' coaching staff is known for valuing offensive line depth, especially as the season progresses and the stakes get higher. The fact that Good Jones doesn't currently have his rights held by any CFL team means he's in a prime position to sign with another NFL squad when he's ready. This kind of move is a reminder of how fluid the NFL roster landscape is. Players are constantly in motion, and a move that might seem minor today could turn into a significant addition for a team down the line. Now, let's take a step back and look at how these roster moves fit into the bigger picture for the Washington Commanders this season. The team has been building around young talent, especially on offense, with the focus on protecting their quarterback and establishing a consistent running game. The offensive line has been a point of emphasis, and the coaching staff has been working diligently to find the right mix of experience and youth to create a formidable unit. The addition of players like Good Jones, even if temporarily released, reflects that ongoing effort. They are constantly evaluating and adjusting, trying to find the right chemistry on the line. And of course, the defense remains a key focus, especially with the NFC East becoming more competitive by the year. The Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants all have strong squads, so the Commanders need to be at their best every week. Strengthening the roster through smart moves and strategic signings is crucial in that environment. Looking at the overall season, Washington fans have plenty to be optimistic about. The team showed flashes of promise last year, and with the right adjustments, they could take a big leap this year. The quarterback, the young stars on defense, and the coaching staff's strategic approach all point to a team that's hungry for success. But it's clear that every move, every roster tweak, is part of a bigger plan. A plan to compete at the highest level and ultimately reach the playoffs, maybe even go further. So, as we keep an eye on these roster developments, it's important to remember that football is a game of inches, of small adjustments that can make a huge difference. The NFL season is a marathon, not a sprint, and teams that stay flexible and adaptable tend to come out on top. The Commanders are no different. They're constantly scouting, evaluating, and making moves to improve their chances of making a deep playoff run. Their focus remains on building a balanced, resilient team that can handle the ups and downs of a grueling NFL season. And for the fans, that's what makes this journey so exciting. Every roster move, every injury, every game is a new chapter in the team's story. And with the NFC East so competitive, every detail matters. The Commanders are in a unique position right now. They're assembling a squad that could surprise a lot of people, especially if their key players stay healthy and perform at their best. The potential is there, and these roster moves are just part of the puzzle. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So as we look ahead, what's next for the Washington Commanders? Well, they'll continue to monitor their roster, looking for the right pieces to fill gaps, especially on the offensive line and on the defensive front. The coaching staff will also be focused on developing the players they already have, creating chemistry and game plan adjustments that can give them an edge. Fans should be paying close attention to how the team manages injuries and how players like Good Jones recover and potentially return, because those are the stories that could define the season. And it's worth mentioning that the NFC East remains one of the most exciting divisions in the NFL. The Eagles are looking to defend their title, the Cowboys are always formidable, and the Giants are aiming for a resurgence. For Washington, every game is a battle, and every roster move counts. The team has shown resilience and a willingness to adapt, which bodes well for their prospects this season. The upcoming weeks will be critical for finalizing the roster and establishing the chemistry needed to compete at the highest level. The coaching staff's experience, combined with the determination of the players, creates a solid foundation. The fans, of course, are eager to see their team rise to the challenge. There's a lot of talent on this roster, and with strategic moves like the recent release of Good Jones, the team is clearly aiming to stay flexible and ready for whatever the season throws at them. The hope is that these moves will translate into on-field success, helping Washington secure a playoff spot And who knows, maybe even a deep run that could finally bring that elusive Super Bowl victory back to the nation's capital. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these roster moves? Do you think releasing Good Jones was the right call? Or do you see potential in him returning later in the season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of this team. Remember, every fan's voice counts in this journey. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, insights, and behind-the-scenes info about your Washington Commanders. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting this team through thick and thin. Because this season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and Washington fans are right in the middle of it all. Thanks for watching, and see you soon with more news and analysis.